The room smelled of antiseptic and cold metal. Mark opened his eyes to a ceiling of harsh, unblinking white. His chest felt heavy, restricted by tight layers of gauze that pulled against his skin with every shallow breath. At the foot of the bed, the surgeon stood motionless, eyes fixed on the rhythmic pulse of the monitor. The heart is beating perfectly. Aye, the doctor said, his voice flat and clinical as he clicked his pen. Mark tried to nod, but his fingers locked onto the bedsheet, his knuckles turning bloodless under the strain. Without warning, the sterile silence shattered. A flash of a dark, rain-slicked alleyway tore through his mind. The sharp, metallic tang of ozone flooded his senses, thick and suffocating. His vision blurred, the white walls warping into jagged shadows. The heart monitor erupted into a frantic sequence of beeps. The doctor turned, reaching for the IV drip, but Mark was not alone anymore. 3 weeks passed in a blur of medication and silence. Mark stood in his kitchen, the afternoon light casting long, thin shadows across the counter. He reached for a knife on the cutting board. His fingers did not fumble. They wrapped around the handle with a fluid, predatory precision. He traced the edge of the blade, his wrist rotating in a rhythmic, practiced arc. He had never held a weapon in his life, yet his muscles knew the exact weight, the balance point, and the lethal potential of the steel. He set the knife down, his breath hitching. This was not his skill. This was not his memory. He pushed the blade away, his hands trembling as he opened his laptop. The search bar blinked, a steady, rhythmic pulse. He typed the hospital registration code, his eyes scanning the digital rows of donor data. The screen flickered, revealing a single entry. Elias Thorne. The name felt like a physical weight in the room. He closed the laptop, grabbed his keys, and walked out the door. He had to find the source of the heartbeat. The house stood at the city's edge, a rotting structure of peeling gray paint and sagging porch boards. Mark climbed the steps, the wood groaning under his weight. He knocked. The door creaked open, revealing an elderly woman. Her skin was the color of parchment, her eyes wide and fixed on his chest. Mark spoke, his voice tight. "I received Elias Thorne's heart." The woman recoiled as if he had struck her. She clutched the doorframe, her knuckles white, her breath hitching. "That is impossible," she whispered. "Elias is alive. He is in the basement." Her eyes darted toward the floorboards. Mark did not wait for an explanation. He stepped forward, pushing past her into the dim hallway. He found the door to the basement, a heavy slab of wood bolted shut. He kicked it. The lock groaned, then snapped. A draft of frigid air rushed up from the darkness, carrying the low hum of machinery. Mark began his descent into the black. The basement was a tomb of cold concrete and flickering light. Mark reached the bottom step, his boots crunching on broken glass. A single bulb swung overhead, casting long, erratic shadows that danced across the walls. In the center of the room sat a metal chair, bolted to the floor. A man was strapped into it, his body unnaturally still. His chest cavity was open, a hollow, dark void, yet his lungs expanded and contracted. Thick, translucent tubes snaked from his open ribcage into a massive, humming machine that pulsed with a synthetic, violet light. The man on the chair tilted his head. He opened his eyes, the pupils dilated and fixed on Mark. A slow, hollow smile spread across his face. Mark froze. He looked down at his own chest, feeling the heavy, rhythmic thud of the heart beneath his ribs. It was not a transplant. It was a harvest. The machine hummed louder, a high-pitched whine that vibrated in his teeth, syncing perfectly with his own pulse. He was not a survivor. He was a storage vessel. He lunged toward the stairs, his fingers clawing at the air, desperate to reach the door.